Good morning. It's good to see you today. Come on with us to Matthew chapter 6. I hope you'll take a moment and read Matthew chapter 6, verses 25 through 34. We don't have time to read all of them this morning, but they are the verses that begin this way. And of course, this is a part of the Sermon on the Mount. But Jesus says, "Therefore I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on." There are a lot of things we could bring out from these verses, but I would suggest sometimes we forget about that very first part when he says, do not worry about your life. I think a lot of times we are tempted, and I think a lot of people are giving into the temptation, and they do worry about their life. They worry about what the future is going to hold. Let's talk about why we should not worry about those things. One reason is to look at these verses, consider verse 26, and think about the fact that God values us. Unlike most people in the world today, most people in the world, they don't value us. They may use us for their own agendas, for their own purposes. They may use us to prop themselves up, but they do not truly value us. God does. We were created in His image, and He loves us and He values us. Sometimes we forget that, and we need to remember it, and we need to let it set into our minds and our hearts. But also, a reason we don't worry about a lot of things, to look at verse 27, it's because a lot of things we just can't change. And that's just how it is in the world. Some things we just can't change, so what's the point in worrying about it? We need to move on. We need to shake the dust off of our feet, and we need to set our mind upon heavenly things rather than earthly things. Some things we just can't change, and we have to accept it. Something else to consider, though, in looking at these verses, especially verses 28 and 29, we'll say this. It's real easy to get caught up in all the garbage of the world. And what we sometimes need to do is we need to slow down and we need to appreciate the little things. And we need to consider the little things, and we need to learn the lessons as we think about them spiritually speaking. Again, read the verses and you'll understand what I'm talking about, verses 28 and 29. Verse 32, another point we might make. It says, "For after all these things the Gentiles seek." Don't get caught up in the kingdoms of men. Don't do it. Rather, set your mind and seek, of course, the kingdom of heaven. One last thing before we leave. It says, don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. Let tomorrow stay tomorrow. You do what's right today. And that's all we can do. Hope you enjoyed this study. God bless you. Hope to see you tomorrow morning.